Today, I have some super weird alpha for you guys. The next big trend for crypto investing might be happening on the traditional stock markets. I'm talking about crypto companies getting listed on the Nasdaq, CBOE, NYSE, etc., or having existing public companies making a pivot to crypto by becoming a crypto technology company, a crypto holding company, and then getting a huge rally from the news. Now, we're all in crypto and we all know what we're here to do. It's to make money. So whether this is good or bad for the crypto industry, I don't know. But clearly, a lot of low cap Nasdaq listed companies are taking this route and they are seeing huge gains in their performance for some reason. This is the narrative that I haven't seen anyone talk about on crypto Twitter because we're all just focused on the coins, but not the traditional markets. However, the performance just in the last month alone has been insane. A ton of companies are doing this. So today I'll show you a bunch of examples from the largest of large caps, like the Circle IPO, to the low cap merger and acquisition deals that you can just search up directly on Google. And we will discuss how to profit from this narrative. Okay, if you guys are new here to the channel, my name is Dennis. I'm a crypto angel investor for the past 6 years, and I have invested in over 100 crypto startups. On this channel, I share views on market trends and investing strategy to build wealth in crypto. Now, really quick, before we get started, this live stream episode is sponsored by Crypto.com. They are the best beginner-friendly crypto app for all around the world, and especially if you're from the US, Canada, they're completely compliant, and they have their advanced exchange that you can use to trade as many altcoins as you want. On spot, they actually don't support leverage, which is actually a good thing for typical retail investors. And if you have been limited by choice and you can't use most of the exchanges, comparing them to Coinbase, they're actually quite smooth, and they have a larger selection of coins that's available for trade, which is number one benefit. And number two is Coinbase has been just locking out too many accounts, and they are always asking you questions about where you're getting your funds from, etc. I've heard too many weird stories coming from there, and that's why I have chosen to partner with Crypto.com. If you guys are looking to buy crypto the whole long term, I have been using their app for 6 years now. You can find on my TikTok channel from 2020, 2019, videos I've done with them when I was using the app. Highly recommend it. You can check out the sign up link to Crypto.com, which is an affiliate link that helps support the channel as well. First link in the description. Okay, let's get right into this. So I want to show you some interesting stats that I was looking at over the weekend when I was digging into who's really buying Bitcoin as Treasury nowadays. So people have been buzzing about this a lot. Okay, governments are getting into Bitcoin, public companies, ETFs, family offices, asset managers, etc. But really, which part is increasing right now? So what's very interesting is you can go on this website called Bitcoin Treasuries, and you can track all of the inflows and outflows. And when you look at governments over the past year, there has not been buying from governments to buy up Bitcoin. They have only been recognizing more Bitcoin holdings. And you see this big jump in the beginning of 2024. This is purely coming from a couple nations, the US, for example, recognizing that they actually hold over 200,000 Bitcoins from the previous seizures, but they did not buy any more. So all of these actually only came from recognition of their existing Bitcoin holdings as treasury. Okay, so over the past year, especially the last 18 months, no countries have bought more Bitcoin. And then you look at, for example, private companies, same thing. Over the past 18 months, there has not been private companies buying Bitcoin. And the last time that there was a major jump was back in 2022. These were around, I believe, the Grayscale Trusts period, when they were just ready to be pushing for this spot ETF narrative. So really, who is increasing their holdings? When you check on all of these, the actual demand actually come from two areas: the ETFs and public companies. So first, let's look at the ETFs. Obviously, this is one of the biggest sectors that people are always talking about. Let's do the same period. Okay, over the past year, so from June 2024 until June 2025, we have made an increase of from 1.03 million to today at 1.36 million. So 310,000 Bitcoin inflow coming from the ETFs. Now, let's look at the public companies. Over the same period, end of May last year, the public companies held a total of 310,000 Bitcoins. Today, public companies overall actually holds 817,000 total Bitcoins in Treasury. So this is the larger buyer than ETFs. So when we're talking about ETF inflows, BlackRock actually buying, the even bigger demand actually come from public companies, corporates buying up Bitcoin, putting it into their Treasury. And this especially started to accelerate around November time last year when Trump was confirmed and when Trump won the election. So I'm digging more into this as well. This is around the period where the new accounting rule for Bitcoin was introduced, where corporates can actually mark up their Bitcoin holdings as earnings, but that will be saving for a separate video in combination with a deep dive into MicroStrategy. But I just want to show you this data because this really puts it into perspective. The larger demand right now actually comes from public companies, even more so than ETFs. This is entities buying Bitcoin. Now, why are they doing so? Well, first of all, they might actually like Bitcoin and they want to, get a hedge on their treasury and have it beat out inflation. But then again, they could buy other assets. They could buy gold, they could buy real estate, they could buy a ton of things. So the crossover here and the exponential benefit that they get is that when you associate your business now with Bitcoin, with digital currencies, with crypto, you actually get more investor interest into your stock. So that leads us into the largest companies holding Bitcoin and holding crypto on their balance sheet. So back in February, CoinGecko did a piece and noting that publicly traded companies holds 5.8% of the total crypto market cap back in February in their treasury. When they do the next analysis of this piece, I would be very curious to see how much of a bump it has been over the past quarter, because this is likely going to be much, much bigger in this quarter. So you see back in February, there were only 47 companies total, and most of these were either right here, exchanges, mining companies. Very few are actually technology or payment companies, anything that's productive in like typical crypto terms. But in May, a ton of this sector was expanding. So first of all, we had the Circle IPO that happened last week. Now, Circle's IPO price per share was $31. Today, they trade at $116. Pretty crazy, like for an IPO at this level. And you got to consider the market cap of Circle. This is insane for an IPO performance here. So Circle market cap today, not this one. Circle Nasdaq here. Where are we at? $25 billion. Okay, so this is a huge injection that goes to show you, even at the highest level, there is a ton of demand for crypto companies from TradFi, especially publicly listed companies. Now, XRP and Ripple, right? Ripple has been trying to go public, and people have been speculating they'll go public and going for an IPO for a while. They have kept delaying, and they said more recently that they won't be going public this year, but chances are they're just adjusting their targets up towards somewhere next year. But nonetheless, when this happens, it'll really, really open the floodgates. Most likely will be a bigger result than Circle as well. And not only that, but because the unique relationship between the XRP token, the coin, and Ripple, the IPO stock, is going to be so interesting. This will be the first time ever where you have such a large asset that's a coin being paired with a stock of a share that's publicly traded going through IPO. If this is allowed and it happens, and you do start to see this symbiotic relationship between the two, and especially if there's some sort of like correlation, conversion or anything like that, that will be really opening the markets up for the next wave of coins related to stocks and how they can perform together. And most likely you'll start to have like IPO deals where you have two bundled together. That's kind of the dream for an investor's sake. But these are large caps. Okay, we're not able to invest into Ripple's IPO or Circle's IPO. But what I do want to show you is just how many of these things are actually happening on the Nasdaq today. So you can do this yourself. You can Google Nasdaq crypto news, and you most likely have heard these blockbuster news, right? For example, Nasdaq has their own crypto index, and it currently tracks Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, AVAX, Litecoin, Uniswap, and they just added Stellar. Cardano was just added, I believe, and XRP and Solana were just confirmed. And for example, you have SharpLink. This is might be a weird name because it's a stock, but this is the so the co-founder of Ethereum, Joe Lubin, just became the chairman of this company, and they pivoted from a gaming company to a Ethereum holdings company. This news was sometime like last week, and you can track the performance of this right here. So on the Nasdaq, right after this news, they listed on the Nasdaq, and price went from $30 to $120. This is a typical like SPAC merger acquisition deal that pushes them onto a large exchange like Nasdaq. And you see these kinds of performance. You can treat it like another way of IPO. You have similarly, one of the other major news that people have circulated on crypto Twitter last month was this one. So there's this publicly traded company called DeFi Dev Corp that first they partnered with BunkBot to acquire one of the largest Solana validators with a large Solana stake, currently valued at over $100 million. After they did that, they also introduced Solana liquid staking to their Treasury strategy, and they listed on the Nasdaq. So their ticker is this, DFDV. Was this? No, it's not even. I'm not sure if the news are exactly the same. So May 17, yeah, okay. So they listed on the Nasdaq first, and then they had this rally you see here, from $8 to $50 in May, with just this news alone. These are shitcoin levels of performance, going, what is this? 6x in 1 month, just from this news that they're pivoting to Solana validator and Solana liquid staking. Like if you did this as a coin, you can't pump it 8x, but somehow you have a publicly traded company making this pivot and they can pump their stock 8x. That's crazy, right? And this is not a low cap. So you can look at DFDV on Nasdaq, DeFi Development Corp. What's the market cap of this? 330 million. This is a decent chunk. There's a decent chunk of capital in here. There's a ton more of this is happening as we speak. So there's another very similar company called DeFi Technologies that have started to do both RWA stablecoins and a Solana strategy as well. They had a $200 million, they raised $200 million to here. They were going into Solana, I believe. Okay, so they first acquired this other company called Valor, and they had under their hood, they had a Solana ETP product. Let's see, Solana monetization. So they also run a MEV optimized validator business for Solana. And DeFi Technologies, after acquiring Valor, is one of the largest institutional asset manager of Solana. So they're basically like half technology, half asset manager for Solana. And this trades, the ticker for this is DEFT. And right after this news, that got them onto the Nasdaq. So this is, again, very typical, like your behavior for a new stock listing that really pushes them ahead. And this is not a new stock, right? It's new on the Nasdaq, but their performance has been around for that you can track for a while. It's not on. I don't have the OTC chart for this, but I'm sure there has been a large warm up to this where people have been accumulating, and then releasing this news, listing it onto Nasdaq. Now, I'm not here to judge, okay? I'm not here to say you should buy these coins after they list. You should buy these stocks after they pivot to crypto and they list on the Nasdaq. I'm just saying a lot of companies are doing this, and that helps them to list on a large exchange. If they have already listed on there before, they would see a big bump. If not, then that's likely a sell the news event. But there is a lot of capital markets being played here. Okay, so I was looking just deeper on this search term on Google and on Twitter, Nasdaq crypto news. So I found a couple more. Ant Alpha, this is the fintech company arm of Bitmain, the largest manufacturer for Bitcoin mining hardware. And they just listed on the Nasdaq as well after here. So Ant Alpha public platform holding company did an IPO on the Nasdaq and under the symbol ANTA. And shares were expected to be $11 to $13, blah, blah, right? They were originally only trading in Singapore. So you see another capital game extraction happening here. And then you can go down the list. So so here's a good one. This is an example of something that already trades and is relatively lower cap, and the company was dying. Okay, and they come out and announce that they are doing a crypto venture and doing a subsidiary under their main holding corp for digital assets. This company is called Nuve, whatever it is. I don't even know what they do. And you see, after they made this announcement, on the day off, right, big wave of influx coming from this news where the stock itself jumped 3x on the day and just came down. So this is like typical like catalyst event, crypto trader news event type of performance that we're seeing happening on the Nasdaq for companies pivoting to support crypto in some way. Last one I want to show you. Okay, I promise. Just on this list, this is something that just happened today. So Nasdaq crypto news, blah, blah, blah. Somewhere. Yeah, okay, I'll just bring it up. So there's this Korean company called K-Wave Media. They are not related to crypto at all before. They are, I believe, an entertainment company. So they did a merger and acquisition with this other, M&A firm, whatever, called Global Star. And they raised $500 million for Bitcoin Treasury deal. So they became a Bitcoin Treasury company. And then they listed on the Nasdaq. And look at their performance right here, KWM. You see this? So they listed on the Nasdaq and they announced this Treasury deal. Boom, right? From $1.80 to $5. All of a sudden. Now, where is this demand coming from? I can assure you, this is not coming from crypto Twitter. You cannot find these types of news on crypto Twitter. Nobody is talking about, this like Bitcoin treasury company, announcing this and then their stock going 3x on the day. Everyone is still talking about like pump fund and whatnot. But the reason why I wanted to bring this to your attention is because we see a lot of these Bitcoin treasury deals, right? Even like crypto treasury deals, right? Some companies are doing Bitcoin, but there are others doing Ethereum, doing Solana. There are even a ton of them doing XRP, right? This random energy company Vivo Power did the same thing. I'm not even going to show you, but they raised $120 million to buy XRP, and they raised that money from the Middle East, from Saudis, and their stock went pretty crazy. VVPR, right here. You see this big performance leading into this. So a lot of people definitely got ticked off on this. 70 cents back in March, today $6.80, nearly 10x to the top over 3 months. So these types of things are happening. And the biggest takeaway here is that we don't need them. If you are a Bitcoin holder, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, large caps holder, we don't need to generate more buzz around which companies are buying treasury, crypto for treasury. They actually need us. These companies that partner with some, sovereign wealth funds, some rich family office, buy one of the top large cryptocurrencies in a large deal and then getting listed on a large exchange like the Nasdaq helps the company way more so than it helps the coin. Because look at this, right? When this company's stock pumped 10x over 3 months, but XRP did nothing over that same period. So the real alpha here is not to, be like only caring about, 10 new companies got into Bitcoin this month and then we all celebrate. I think there's a bigger picture here, which is we can start to look at either just following these news and literally treating them like shit coins, because these are shit companies that are just trying to take advantage of this wave. And using our crypto knowledge, I think it's the same game. It's the same trading around catalyst events game. That's one way you can play it. Now, I'm not a stock market expert. There's a lot more nuance there, obviously. There's going to be a lot less information flow that you can actually get beforehand, because, by definition, that's kind of not allowed. But just look at this, this kind of performance. Why did this happen so early, right? Something must have happened before. That's number one. And number two is, especially with this, with XRP and Ripple, and it's eventually when Ripple goes public, what's going to be the effect when you have Ripple stock trading at the same time as XRP, the coin, and both being worth hundreds of billions of dollars? What's it going to be, right? Is there going to be correlation? Is there going to be, how do they even manage this type of situation? This is the first in history, really. So I think we'll start to see more maturity in this sector. So far, it's still very nascent. So just today, there is a first of this type of a deal happening where it's a little bit more advanced. So instead of just a public company buying up XRP, Ethereum, Solana, whatever, and pumping their stock price, we actually have a Nasdaq listed fintech capital company, Net Capital investment company, acquiring a crypto native protocol called Mixi. Now, I have tweeted about this yesterday. I have reached out to the team before to really learn more about what's really happening on the Nasdaq and the public markets. So TLDR here is Mixi used to be this AI gaming company. They have a lot of experience in crypto, and they do have a low cap coin that they launched on Pump Fund before. But after this M&A deal, where they are now part of a Nasdaq traded company, their coin is still trading. And their coin is also called Mixi. And you see, leading up to this news, there has been a lot of volatility, but generally it has been up. And this coin is not micro cap anymore. It's 21 million market cap, 60 million FDV, and it has like solid tokenomics. They're not just like purely pump fund. They locked up a lot of the supply directly on chain on Streamflow. So you can follow this account, Mixie Updates. They have been teasing about some stuff that they want to do by connecting the crypto token side with the public markets, with the Nasdaq, where they can help bring more companies to the public markets. And at the same time, maybe these companies still have a token trading. So I believe there's going to be a bigger wave happening where crypto Twitter guys can actually buy the tokens that are maybe utility token, maybe meme token, mascot token, whatever. And then you have the publicly traded side of the stock, of a share, of whatever that's coming from these M&A deals of a crypto company now listed on the Nasdaq. This is going to be a much more interesting wave that I haven't seen happening, because all of these things, all of these tickers that I have shown you before, these are only companies that purely trade on TradFi markets. They don't have their own coin. They have some sort of strategy to buy into one of the blue chip altcoins, but that's about it. So that's not ultimately that exciting yet. But once Ripple goes public, it sets the precedent where this kind of dual structure, where a company can have a utility token that is XRP and can have a share that's publicly traded, that is Ripple, the stock, that's going to be super interesting, because then you really might have a lot more companies trade on both sides. And then that's our game. I think this trend really might last quite long. Okay. That's kind of, that's it. Honestly, there's not too much direct alpha I can give you, because this is actually so early. I'm not really sure how you can gain just super easy exposure to this. Mixie is one of those examples. The parent company now of this coin, this like corp, is called Net Capital, and they have really good crypto experience. So their investors include Tim Draper, and the core team comes from Napsters. So Sean Fanning, John Fanning, I believe. Sean Fanning is actually one of the co-founders of Helium. So these guys specialize in actually raising capital for private companies and bringing them to the public markets. So I don't know what their larger plan of this is, but they definitely have that experience of raising capital, taking them to publicly traded markets, and connecting the gaps between larger capital and smaller companies. And really, that's the game here. We're looking for liquidity vehicles that can connect these Nasdaq, liquidity demand that's driving up like random what are these tickers? Vivo Power Internationals, your K-Wave Medias, like whatever the hell these are. Why are these going up 3x? We need liquidity vehicles to connect these capital demands, the people that want to FOMO into these news, to the crypto companies that are currently struggling because that the trenches on Solana, on decentralized exchanges is getting over flooded. And even with like Binance listings nowadays, you have a coin, you list on Binance, it goes down only. We have all seen it happen over and over again. It's very rare for people to be excited when you only have crypto liquidity only existing on crypto Twitter coming from wallets. So I think at some point, you're going to have like portfolio companies of ours even exploring both options. An option of doing an M&A deal, taking their company somewhat public on a traditional market, and then maybe even at the same time having a utility token that trades on a smaller scale on decentralized exchanges. Maybe that's the play. And I'm really looking forward to just talking to all the teams that are doing this and figuring out if there are any first movers that are facilitating these types of deals happening where they're connecting real teams in crypto and bringing them public. So this is going to be honestly much more interesting because these things are going up and these things are large caps. And these performances have actually outperformed all your shitcoins by a lot. I mean, from April, this DeFi Development Corp, after doing just a small like Solana validator business, went from 75 cents to $50. What is this? What's happening, right? Why is nobody talking about this? This is a crypto play. This company is literally called DeFi Development Corp. That's doing a Solana validator business. Why are we trenching when we could have rolled this up, right? I think this is where some easy money is actually happening right now. So this is a new thesis I'm just developing. I don't have anything that we can ape into right now that's very concrete, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated on this, but definitely don't fade this just because it's TradFi market. It is still very heavily related to crypto because they have to work with the crypto side in order for these narratives to work. So don't be afraid to, sign up to Web2 broker accounts and try these things out and really follow the types of news. And don't only look at the face level of, like Solana is getting institutional adoption, XRP institutional adoption. There's actually a bigger type of alpha just underneath. This is a sector that I actually want to do more research in because this is real research. If I can find a way to either get the news early on these public companies pivoting into crypto, or if there are related opportunities where the companies have a coin, have a token somewhere, meme coin, NFT, whatever, and then they're doing a big capital play and getting onto the Nasdaq, raising a lot of money to make a pivot, then that could be alpha. I think that's way more interesting than like trying to follow like Binance listings and whatnot. Okay. That's it. That's everything I have prepared for today. So before I go, 2 things you should check out. Number 1, follow me on Twitter or X at VirtualBacon0x. This is where I drop quick alpha before I make them into these in-depth videos. This is the only way that I can make, quick calls. I was talking about Mixi over the past week. Honestly, I should have talked about Kita a lot earlier, but just the coin keeps going up. So I don't like to talk about coins when they go up, to be honest. I like to get them when they're on dips, and finally it's coming down a bit. So I'll keep trying to follow this. Maybe we can get an entry on this. But stuff like this, that's for trades. I'm not going to have time to make like live updates every day. Only once a week. So follow me on Twitter for the quickest updates for trades. And check out all the exchange links in the show notes below. Big props again to crypto.com for sponsoring this live stream. I'm going to continue working with them. If you're just looking to buy coins to hold, especially in the US and in Canada, etc., they all work. They have a large selection of coins and they have their events exchange that you can check out. All linked down in the description. Make sure to check it out to support the channel as well. Okay. That is it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video and next live stream. Bye-bye.